I would say more and more automation of those processes that I'm talking about. Unfortunately, when you go to the traditional demand planning tools, to the traditional MRP tools, to the traditional PLM tools, product lifecycle management, everything that I'm talking about is not incorporated. So you actually have to do a lot of manual work, to actually incorporate this concept of modular treatment, as well as a huge change management on the traditional thinking process of buyer planners, procurement managers, purchasing managers, because what they are still attached to is volume-based pricing, not deal or overall relationship volume, right? So there is at the same time that you have a technology barrier, you have a huge change management from a behavioral standpoint barrier. But there are some companies and there are some of us pushing the envelope, trying to take the fat or the excess out of the supply chain. Because if you try to do the traditional way, and I will put this traditional way between quotation, Dustin, is you cannot push the risk down the supply chain and basically push to your supplier and say, oh, you go deal with it, but this is the way you're going to ship to me. That's basically artificial because the risk will be embedded on the price. So you're actually not dealing with the issue. You're just pushing down the supply chain, and it will come back to you as price increases or less customer satisfaction or, erratic, performance. So this one, what we try to do is actually attack the root cause from both ends, from an end-user marketplace standpoint, as well as from the supply chain, and try to find a common ground in which you actually can deal with the risk in a way that is satisfactory for everybody. I would say listening to the customer and design the processes that actually aim to satisfy those requirements, and look at the tendency and the requirements of that marketplace as a whole, and design appropriate processes to deal with the root cause of the problems, not what the perceived issues you individually as a manager or you as a company might think you have. So I think the most difficult part, and I would say it's most innovative, is how can you take, it's like out of your body experience type of a thing. Forget for a moment your own problems and your own limitations as an individual as well as a company, and try to address the problem and then go try to bridge the gap. So I think that's probably the most pushing the envelope type of innovation that I am personally trying to do, and some of my colleagues, because that's when transformation will take place. It's basically, I would say my last sentence is probably the most important one, is look at the problem from the perspective of your customer and how you satisfy those customers, and how can you add value on a constant basis on the relationship between you and your end user customer. Because if you keep creating value all the time at the same time that you are actually dealing with your own limitations, you're going to increase your margin, you're going to reduce your cost, and you keep your customer satisfied. So it's not only squeezing margin because it's very short-lived. You have to create value that you can keep exploring so that you have enough margin to keep innovating. Because in order to innovate, you have to make margins. Otherwise, it's impossible.